of a Sicha from option Nun. So we're going to start from the top of Hey, second column on this page. יש לומר שבנס השם לחנוכה מודגש עניין כללי ועיקרי בנוגע לכלולוס כמתורה מצוותיו. In the miracle of the oil of Chanukah is emphasized a general thing and a primary thing concerning the general idea of fulfilling Torah mitzvahs. Neir mitzvah v'Torah oil. HaKadosh Baruch Hu ois Hashem accomplishes sheteva olam yeh ba'ofen hara'ui u'mukshel l'kimat Torah mitzvahs. Hashem places in the world that the nature of the world should be in such a type of way that it is appropriate to, proper to, and ready and able in receiving for the fulfillment of Torah mitzvahs. The explanation this is, it says in the passage, if you will go in my chukim and you will observe my mitzvahs, you will do them, and I will give your rains in its times. The earth will give forth its produce. All the brachas that are enumerated over there in Parshas B'chukoisai. The Rambam explains what is the meaning behind all the promises of physical benefits that the Torah speaks about. If that Hashem promised us in Torah, why did he make these promises? That he will remove from him, meaning from us, from the Jewish people, all those things that prevent us from doing the Torah. These are what these promises are about. Hashem is promising us and telling us that all of the things that are preventing us from doing Torah mitzvahs, he will remove. And he will give us all the good and beneficial things. That these support us and help us to fulfill the Torah. Going, for example, Soiva, he will give us years of plenty. In other words, there's a lot of sustenance, shalom and peace, ribui kesef b'zav, and much silver and gold, not as an end in itself, rather as a means that we should have freedom, we should have the free time and the mind that is open to learn Torah and to do the mitzvah. In other words, it's not that the purpose of the mitzvah is that we should be comfortable, but in other words, and that's the rewards. If we'll do the mitzvahs, then Hashem will give us all these nice toys that he promised us. It's the other way around. Torah mitzvahs are the ultimate good, and these are expressed and these are enabled when the world is functioning in such type of way that it's not troubling our Torah mitzvahs. Not only that, but the emphasis over here, what the Rebbe wants to say here in the Sicha is that it's the world itself that is assisting Torah mitzvahs. That is the ultimate. The nature of the world itself becomes in such a way that assists the Yidden to fulfilling Torah mitzvahs. Instead of my being preoccupied with making a living or other issues that disturb me and prevent me from doing Torah mitzvahs, instead, the world will not be in my way. The world will assist me and help me out in the doing of Torah mitzvahs. And this is even more so, b'frat, specifically and especially since nature itself is godliness. So therefore, it doesn't really make any sense that nature should stand in the way, that nature should interfere with Torah mitzvahs. Nature should be helping Torah mitzvahs by its very nature. In other words, not the way one might think that nature and Torah mitzvahs are two opposite things, but just the opposite. Since nature itself is godliness, so therefore it's only natural, pardon the pun, that nature should help us doing Torah mitzvahs. Yedua shel Elokim, like we know that the name Elokim, the way it's spelled out, Aleph Lamed Hey Yud Mem, Echad Mishiva Shmoisav Shal HaKadosh Baruch Hu She'ein Nimchakim. These are one of the 7 names of the Eibishter that are not to be erased. There are other names and descriptions of Hashem that don't have a din of Hashem's name. We can call Hashem Rachum, like Chanun, or something like that, but it doesn't have a din of Hashem's name. Elokim has a din of Hashem's name to such a degree that you're not allowed to erase it, just like you can't erase Yud Kei Vav Kei. And the name Elokim, a godly name, is Begimatria Teva, is the numerical equivalent of the word nature. What does that come to teach us? That comes to teach us not the way it seems to us, that nature itself is contradictory to godliness, that the world is in some way the opposite of godliness. It's just the opposite. Nature and godliness fit together. And that becomes revealed when nature assists us in doing Torah mitzvahs, when the world is running in a comfortable manner, that therefore, when we're learning and davening, it's not that the world is in our way, but the world is helping us out because, like it says, then the Rebbe adds, there are times when it doesn't seem to be that way. There are times when the world does not seem to be helping out Torah mitzvahs. And the novelty and the uniqueness of this matter is, this is also with the state of the world in the way of concealment and covering. Like the time prior to the miracle of Chanukah, when the wicked kingdom of Yavin arose upon your nation Yisrael, to make them forget your Torah, to remove them from the laws of your will, to such a degree was there such a concealment in the world, that the Greeks entered the Heichal, the Timukal Hashman, and they defiled all the oils that were in the Beis Hamikdash. Hainu, this means the state during the time of Chanukah, top of the next page, was in opposition to the fulfillment of Torah mitzvahs. And despite the fact that that was the state of the world at that time, not only did the kingdom of the house of Hashmonai arise and was victorious over the Yevonim, over the Hellenists, and over the Greeks, that the opponent was nullified. Even more so, nature itself became in a way that is worthy and ready for the fulfillment of Torah mitzvahs. Like it's emphasized in the miracle of the oil, that it's explained, and the Rebbe explains in the Sichas and so on, that the miracle of the oil was in a natural way, that the oil burnt in a natural way, and still, while burning in a natural way, it didn't become consumed. And both concerning the finding, even just discovering that little cruse of oil, it didn't appear miraculously by the menorah. They had to search, and they found it. That according to nature, it remained in the Beis Hamikdash, pure oil. Both concerning lighting from it 8 days. The Rebbe speaks about earlier in the Sicha, and the very famous Sicha where the Rebbe speaks about it in a different place, that it was miraculous oil that was that burnt, or else there's a whole question if you can do a mitzvah with something that's a miracle. But rather, the Rebbe speaks earlier in the Sikha that was considered natural oil. What's the idea behind this? Again, that the world itself is a natural place, a place where by nature is connected with Hashem, connected with Torah mitzvahs. This, in addition to this, Inyan Zehud Loidak Benegel Lidvarim Hamukrachim Lakim HaTorah Mitzvah Shebaladim Yefshel L'Chaim Mitzvah. This idea that the world becomes transformed to a place that helps a person do Torah mitzvahs is not only concerning those matters that are necessary for the fulfillment of Torah mitzvahs. Shebaladim Yefshel L'Chaim Mitzvah. That without having those necessary things, it's impossible to fulfill a mitzvah. Halagam Benegeya Lihidur Mitzvah. Also concerning the beautification of a mitzvah. Nes Hashemen Sheyadliku B'Shemen Tahor Hayitlotzorech Hidur Mitzvah. The fact that the Beis Hamikdash needed to have pure oil was really a beautification of mitzvah. It wasn't necessary for the mitzvah itself, because as the Rebbe spoke about earlier in the Sicha, Kivun Shalpidino Yuchel Lahadlik B'Shemen Tamik Anal, that it was possible when there's no pure oil, when there's no non-Talmudic oil, you could have lit with Talmudic oil. Still in all, so the world helped. The world itself, in the rules of nature, assisted a Yid to do not just the regular mitzvah, basic mitzvahs, but even Hidur mitzvah. And all of this is even in a state and situation when one is at the beginning of one's service of Hashem. That is the idea of Chanukah for the word education. By Chanukah Samizbeach Bizman Mishkan, like for example, the dedication of the Mizbeach in the times that the Mishkan took place on Chafhei B'Kislev, on the date of Chanukah. That's one of the reasons why Chanukah is called Chanukah, because the dedication of the Mizbeach. With the Gemasa b'Chanukah Mizbeach Bezman Chashmonoim, similar to that, the dedication of the Mizbeach in the times of the Chashmonoim. And we do not say Shebahaskolas Havodas Mana Chinuch Yichol stop it B'Kiyum HaMitzvah Al Pidin. We do not say that at the beginning of the Avodah, the time of education, we could be happy and satisfied with just fulfilling the mitzvah according to the halakha. And only when the person becomes more advanced, then they'll increase in the beautification of the mitzvah. This is something that the Rebbe always pushes, that even when teaching children, we're supposed to teach them right away minhagim and hidur mitzvahs and so on like that, and so on and so forth, and not to say, okay, let's not overwhelm them, let's not go into hidurim, let's just teach them the basics. And then when they get older, we'll give them the hidur mitzvah. No, we give them the hidur mitzvah right away, right at the beginning of chinuch. And we see a proof from this, what happened by the Neis Chanukah. The miracle of Chanukah was in such a way that the nature of the world itself was ready and for fulfilling the mitzvah itself and fulfilling it in a way of hidur, of beautification. From here we derive also concerning the general service for fulfilling Torah mitzvahs in the time of exile. Gam betzoika itim the cheshkas hagolos, also in difficult times of the darkness of Golos. Ba'ad l'choshech kafel mechupel the soif hagolos, even to the time of the double and quadruple darkness of the end of Golos, equals of the Mashiach, the heels of Mashiach. Kasher hachoshech ichasa eretz va'rafel umim, when a darkness will cover the earth, and a very strong darkness will cover the nations. Hashem gives every single year the capability to fulfill matters of Torah mitzvahs that the person is obligated them. Hashem also gives the yid the capability to fulfill also the beautification of a mitzvah. Until even the beautification upon, or going above and beyond the law, doubly so. That's always explained that the Chanukah is we do mahadrin mina mahadrin, because really one candle for the whole household would have been enough all 8 days. But we do that every male at least lights their own menorah, and every single day we increase. This is two levels of hidur, mahadrin mina mahadrin. Gambi Yosoi Baschol Savoido, even when the person is at the beginning of the service. In such a manner, in such a manner that the nature of the world assists every single Yid in service and the fulfillment of Torah mitzvahs. Well, Pashtus, and simply put, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Noisen Kol Echad Ve'echad Misrael Kol Mitzdarech Loi. Hashem gives every single Yid all that is necessary for him. Bone Chayim Mezoyne Revichit, children, life, which includes health and sustenance in a comfortable manner. Now, the Revicha could be going just on Mezoyne, so the Rebbe emphasizes the Kulam Revicha. So it's all of them is comfortable, children and health and life and sustenance for sure. So a person should be able to fulfill Torah mitzvahs with calmness of soul and calmness of the body. Then the Rebbe goes on, add in what we've said, Shebenes Hashem in the Chanukah, miracle of the oil of Chanukah. Mudgish is emphasized, Sheteva, Oilam Nasaroy, L'kiyam mitzvahs, that the nature of the world becomes ready for the fulfillment of mitzvahs. Shebe'inyaza, Nechlalas, Gaman, Sinas Koyach, L'kiyam mitzvahs, Betachsa, Shlemis, Begula, Mitzvah, Shlem. In this is included also the empowerment for the fulfillment of mitzvahs in the ultimate way, in the true and complete redemption, the way it's going to be when Mashiach comes. Let's maybe skip over a little bit over here. Let's go to Zion. Right, let's go further. Let's go to top. Bottom of 205. Last two lines in the second column. Even Shebeneris Chanukah, Bezes Hashlemis, that Lokas Hamnoiro Beis Hamigdash, the Geulah Hasidah. In the lighting of Chanukah candles is hinted also the kindling of the candles that took place in the Beis Hamikdash and also in the future redemption. As it's known, the number of 8 candles hints at the future redemption because it says that the days of Mashiach, the kinnor, the stringed instrument that we'll have in the Beis Hamikdash will have 8 strands, indicating that the number 8 has to do with Mashiach's times. Then there will be the kindling of the menorah in an everlasting way that will never cease. According to this, we could say, Shemenes Hashem in the Chanukah, Nichlelas Gaman Sinas Koyach, Sheteva, Oilam Yeroy, La Shlemis, the Geulah Sicha. The miracle of the oil of Chanukah is included also the empowerment that the nature of the world will be ready for the perfection of the future redemption. Since the miracle of the oil is they found one cruse of oil and they lit from it 8 days. This means from the perspective of the nature of the world, a miracle is connected and associated with the nature of the world. There was the possibility and capability to light the menorah for 8 days, like we said before. It was something that Hashem set into the nature of the world. It wasn't something that was completely out of this world. Therefore, first of all, the Chazal established the Yom Tov that should be 8 days. And the additional thing is that over the 8 days, it could have lit just one candle every day, but rather the ultimate thing is they should light 8 candles. And this is hinted that the nature of the world becomes worthy and ready to receive the perfection of Mashiach's times, b'dugmas misper shmeina, similar to the number 8, which is called Shomer HaHekev. Shomer HaHekev means the cycle is 7. Shomer HaHekev means that's what's outside the cycle, beyond the norm. L'mayla Meshivas Yimei HaHekev, beyond the 7 days of the weekday cycle, Shivas Yimei HaBinyan, the 7 days of the creation of the world, Teva Olam, the nature of the world. But along with being the number 8, which shows that's beyond the world, along with it, it still has a connection with the world. The term Shomer HaHekev means he guards and he imbues the world with. Now, the Rebbe says a very interesting thing in footnote 62. That which is beyond the world, through the time of Golus, it becomes now changed and has a connection with the world itself. But let's go on further in the Sicha. We could say, that this idea, the miracle of the oil of Chanukah, includes the effect and the nature of the world, that it should be worthy for the future redemption. It comes about specifically through the avodah of spreading the well springs of the inner part of the Torah, the oil of the Torah outward. Avodah shechiyuva bezman hazeh. An avodah spreading the well springs of Torah outward is obligatory these days. It's especially connected with the perfection of the future redemption. Spreading the well springs outward is from the matter of those matters of service that are connected to these days. Because of our Arizal, like the Arizal writes, these latter generations, mutter is permitted, and not only is it permitted, but mitzvah legal is it's a mitzvah to reveal this wisdom of the hidden part of the Torah. That was already in the times of the Arizal, who lived a while before Chassidus. How much more so after the revelation of the teachings of Chassidus through the Baal Shem Tov and Zisha Magid. Until the revelation of Torah Chassidus Chabad through the Alter Rebbe. Especially after the redemption of Yudas Kislev. And after following the days of our Rabbeim, our Nesiim, those that filled their places. Till my father-in-law, Friedrich Rebbe, is that he proclaimed that the avodah of spreading the well springs outward is the unique mitzvah. That the time has to do with it. It's the command of the hour. In this generation. Along with this, it's connected, the avodah of spreading the well springs outward with the perfection of the future redemption. Like it's known, through spreading the well springs outward will come the master, the King Mashiach. But the reason for this is because the spreading of the well springs outward is the beginning, similar to the perfection of the revelation of the inner part of Torah through Mashiach it came. Here again, we're going to go back to Chanukah's connection. This is even more emphasized. The empowerment of the miracle of the oil that's in Chanukah. The mitzvah is to place it on the entrance to his house outward. This means the oil of the Torah. The inner part of the Torah, Meir Gam Bechutz, shines also outside. Ad the Kalya Rigla Tarmadoi, till the legs of the Tarmadoi ceases, meaning those that are outside in the marketplace, that are the last people to be there, stop being around over there. It affects the outside, that there's nothing outside of it. That the nature of the world is in such a manner that's worthy for the service of spreading the well springs outward. Both from the obligation to be involved in this avodah these days, just like the nature of the world is worthy, fulfilling all the mitzvahs that their obligation is these days. Also because the preparation for the completion of the future redemption. Because Chanukah, like I said before, is included also the empowerment for the future redemption. 1 second. Okay, let's just jump over to the end of the Sicha Oisud Beis. V'yihi Ratzon, Oisud Beis, V'yihi Ratzon, V'hu Iker. It should be the will, and that's primary. Shadibar v'achlata b'chol hanal, speaking and resolving in all of this. Yimaru v'yizarzu, will quicken and speed up. V'yaviu, take from a yad and will bring immediately. As a Geulah mitzvah shleima de Mashiach tzidkenu, the true and complete redemption through Mashiach. Ubepashtus, and simply put, this Shabbos itself, we merit to see the dedication of Mizbeach, and he points with his finger and says, this is the dedication of the Mizbeach, because that Shabbos was the last day of Chanukah, known as Zois Chanukah, because the Torah reading is Zois Chanukah on the last day of Chanukah. The Beis HaMikdash Ashlish in the third Beis HaMikdash. Mikdash Adonai Kainu Yodecha. Mikdash Vashem, your own hands prepared. Koilo, we will see also Chinuch HaMenoida, the dedication of the Menorah. And he speaks over there, the Chazal say, how does one dedicate the Menorah? Only when one lights and kindles all of its 7 branches between in the evening times when it's supposed to be lit. When you kindle the candles of the Menorah, they should face the Menorah, they should illuminate the 7 candles. The Aaron are going through Aaron. He will kindle the Menorah that Moshe Rabbeinu built. We know that even though Aaron kindles the Menorah, Moshe Rabbeinu built it. Why will Aaron and Moshe be involved in it? Because immediately in the first moment of the Geulah, Moshe and Aaron will be with them, like it says, that even though Tchias HaMesim may take some time, but the tzaddikim will arise right away at the beginning of the Geulah. Along with the hands, the creation of the hands of Moshe, which are everlasting. In other words, the Menorah of Moshe is something that's everlasting. They will become revealed in their completion and perfection when Mashiach comes. In other words, and the Rebbe brings in the footnote that it's since the Aron is there in existence under the Beis HaMikdash, like the Rebbe speaks about many times, the same thing the Rebbe says that very likely the Menorah and the other Kalim are also in existence. So again, the world is ready for the Geulah, the world is ready for Torah Mitzvahs, it just has to be revealed. It's like it's emphasized in the Parsha of the week, Miketz, Kashur, V'roim is al calling Yanikates, that's connected with them hints on all matters of end, Kates Hayamim, V'Kates Hayamin, the end of days, which is Mashiach's times, and the end where it will be only the right, meaning the revelation will be a very powerful revelation, like from Hashem's right, which is instead of the tzimtzumim and the constrictions of the left. Miyad la'achriz bon mashakosov parshas maschilim likrat bills mincha, and immediately we come where it says afterwards in the parsha that we read this upcoming Shabbos by mincha by Yigashel of Yehuda, that Yehuda approached him talking about Yosef, Hagoshav Achibur the Yehuda of Yosef, The approaching and the joining of Yehuda to Yosef that hints on Yehuda and that hints on Hashem, which is the name Yud Kei Vav Kei hinted in the word Yehuda has the name Yud Kei Vav Kei in it, and Yosef hints on Klal Yisrael, the Roya Katzoin Yosef, that the entire Klal Yisrael is called Yosef. In such a way that one and one they will approach. The Ruach La Yahweh B'Neim, there won't be even an air's breadth between them. Like it says, in that day, Hashem's name will be one, and He will be one. He will be one, and His name will be one. When we say that His name is one, that's also referring to the Yidden. How is His name referring to the Yidden? Chazal say, Asidim Tzadikim. In the future, the Tzadikim, which Amech Kulam Tzadikim, your nation is entirely Tzadikim, Shmikroim Al Shmoy Shal HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzadikim will be called by the name of Hashem, Yisrael V'Kudshabrichu Kol Echad, that Yidden and Hashem will be entirely one. Okay, Freil Mechanik, everybody.